Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Arena STL here on Fuel Sports Network. Boy, it's hard to imagine when I first started the show back in April, trying to cover the Arena Football League, how that started pretty much as an exciting thing, then into its colossal change that happened with deal with Lee Hutton, then be able to bounce back into what happened to win the Go to the Arena Championship that ended in New Jersey. Then cover also the Arena League, a little bit different, but had a very successful year. Then also ending here for the end of the indoor football season, arena football season, if you will, with the indoor football league national championship. They really need to do something about that name because with Zach and Kevin and I were having a show last week. When you think national championship, it's not really like a pro championship. Usually you think of college or stuff like that because it's just hard to like. It just should do IFL championship. The national part just like throws you off a little bit. And yeah, Chris, there should be there needs to be a few more Canadian teams in the arena football indoor football league. Heck, any arena football league, because to be fair, there's arena football teams in Asia, China, well, in Asia, China, Japan in the past. So it kind of needs to it excuse me there. It's growing a bit, of course. If I remember, we did have one in Mexico years back. And then Canada did have one. Sorry about the connection there. I don't know what's going on. Usually we have good connection now. Be a little bit difference with the change from going from summer to fall here. It's close. Of course, right now, Missouri, we're kind of going to the fake fall weather because it feels like fall, but it's going to be in the 90s here and that too. Oh yeah, Chris, there's been football teams in the Asian countries. There has. So let's get down to probably the first. Well, before we get to the latest AFL news, well, let's go and discuss the final championship here in arena football season, which is the once again indoor football league national championship. I they need to change that name. They need to really change that name. Of course, it was against the Massachusetts Pirates and the Arizona Rattlers. And once again, I'll mention the Arizona Rattlers is one of the more known franchises in arena football. Snakes, yeah, Chris. Now it's kind of funny because like me, Zach and Kevin, we discussed this. Me and Zach, of course, choose Arizona, and then Kevin also or Jersey, chose the Massachusetts Pirates. You would think because of all the championships, because you got the National Arena League with the Miners winning that, the Arena Football League with the Billings, Montana, and then the Indoor Football League, as of right now, is of course the most stable. I would say the most stable out of all the arena leagues that are currently in operation. And it was pretty much a one-sided type of battle. Unfortunately, the Arizona Rattlers just freaking just pounded the Massachusetts Pirates most of the game because it things just went bad because at the beginning of the game, the Arizona Rattlers caused a rouge. And for people that don't know, a rouge is 1 point and it's caused basically getting a touchback right back there on there. Just get the ball, it doesn't pass the deal. And I really haven't seen a rouge in a while. The indoor football league, the arena football league, yes, because of the netting, but there was a rouge there. And then Massachusetts started pretty well because one thing me, Zach, and Jersey discussed that if Jimmy Robinson from from Massachusetts start rolling, it should be a good momentum for Massachusetts. They got all the way down to their end zone, and Jimmy fumbled the ball, almost getting into the end zone. And ever since then, Arizona just kept pounding and going and going, and the Arizona defense just conquered the Massachusetts Pirates offense. And I'll just go over here because Benefield for Massachusetts, 11 out of 30, 127 yards, one TD, three interceptions, and three rushing attempts with 34 yards. He did not have a good game at all whatsoever. And Snead, of course, it's kind of weird that the IFL, like him, former Vegas quarterback, getting like a revenge thing, and hell, even Jersey said he doesn't even know what the heck the commentators were talking about back those weeks, telling this type of story. And Snead just he did good. Of course, mostly Arizona had to thank their rushing attack for getting all their points. Snead got 10 out of 15, only 67 passing yards. That's very interesting. 67 passing yards. Because it's usually you get more passing than rushing. It was the reverse for Arizona, and they won the championship. And two TDs, and then of course he ran for 61 yards and rushed for a touchdown. And like I said before, for rushing, Massachusetts, Jimmy Robinson, only 10 attempts, 41 yards to hold Robinson for less than 50 yards. That is impressive once again for this Arizona defense. Only did one rushing touchdown. The only other rushing touchdown that Massachusetts gets, because here's the box score. Massachusetts, 0, 8 points for Arizona in the first quarter. The Rubes, the touchdown, the extra point. Second quarter, once again, Arizona defense shuts out the Massachusetts Pirates 15-0. Third quarter, Massachusetts finally scored and tried to get back. Instead of doing the regular 1 point extra point kicks, they did the 2 point drop kicks in order to try to come back. Arizona again scored 10 more points. Fourth quarter, Massachusetts scored again and also did another successful drop kick, but Arizona scored 14. And Arizona wins wins 53-16. And like going through the stats here again, because the only receiving threat for Massachusetts was T.O. Redding, 5 receptions, 41 yards, 1 touchdown. For Arizona, Jamal Miles, 3 receptions, 19 touchdowns, 19 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ugh, tongue-tied today. And it just, and a lot more just rushing touchdowns from the other players. And I expected Arizona to do some more scoring, but mostly from throwing, not from rushing. So that was actually pretty good. And congratulations to the Arizona Rattlers and winning the Indoor Football League National Championship. The national, once again, adding the national to the championship just doesn't come off the tongue at all. None whatsoever. So concludes with that season. And one thing too is with Arizona being close, because this game was played in Henderson, Nevada, near Las Vegas, it was basically a home game for them. Massachusetts, I don't know, they probably had some fans come here, but it was basically an Arizona home game because of how close they are. Because I think Zach said, because he lives in Arizona, it's like a 5 to 6 hour drive. So Arizona fans could have taken like a coach bus. That's probably the cheapest option right now, flying a plane. Maybe a train too. Not too sure. So, as I said, this concludes now basically season play of arena football. And now we're getting into the off season, figuring out what is going to happen. Actually, Chris, I would not mind if they try to do some type of bowl thing with the Area 51, do something with the alien stuff. As someone that's a sci-fi fan, I wouldn't mind. That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. So now it comes to what happens next. We're now into the off season because when it comes to the Indoor Football League, they're actually adding a team, so they would have a total of 17 teams. And that, of course, is the Fisher's Freight that's coming out of Indianapolis. Not too sure about this one as of yet. So they add one team. So are they going to add another? Because if with an odd number of teams, the indoor football league is going to have basically kind of similar what the Canadian Football League is with an odd number of teams that have at least one team have a bye because that's the only way to do it, or one team try to find team because this is common in arena football that find teams outside of other leagues, smaller ones, because there's different levels when it comes to arena football, and they could actually get some teams there to play all sorts of stuff. And heck, there's probably there's always usually some travel teams or makeshift teams. Heck, I recall the River City Raiders somehow played Missouri Rampage that could not find where they played, and they played some type of pickup game type of deal. That, of course, was I would say 2018. Yeah, 2018. That's right. Then, of course, you got the Arena League. They, of course, added two teams coming to next year. Going to see how they improve because they announced they want to try to improve officiating, production. Because all their games, I will say, at the most, were pretty good. They just need to find a little bit better with some camera work, it's practice, and then see how. Because remember, for the Kansas City Goats, earlier to the end of the season, there was just something weird with their arena's flooring that caused them not to play. This wasn't a fault of the league. This wasn't a fault of the team itself. This was more fault, I would just say, at most weirdness to a venue I've ever seen or heard. Because it's just weird how this happened. We still don't know what caused the damage to the flooring. It was it something that just happened with environmental structure? Was it vandalism? It's still kind of confused what caused the flooring to be like, well, we can't play here anymore. But then they did have makeshift games outside at St. Pius X High School in Kansas City, which honestly, it that's kind of good for maybe some, well, especially for that league, because since they don't have kickers, so they don't have to worry about goalposts. So for them to do, that's not a bad idea. Just have a few events, something like that. Of course, weather permitting, of course. And then, of course, as we mentioned before, the last 6 weeks, we have the National Arena League, and they already announced a 10th team with Shreveport, the Roo. It's hard to say the Cajun. Basically, it's like a Cajun werewolf legend. But then they also added a 11th team now, formerly the Amarillo Cobras. They have been rebranded as the Umbrella Dusters, in which I do have a picture of their logo here. Here we are. Yeah, there we go. Amarillo Dusters. Got a nice. The burnt orange actually looks pretty good for this, actually. So yeah, it's another arena team with they have the tornado as part of the logo. Like if all of it's you see it actually is a tornado, but we actually have something with a tornado. So that actually isn't bad at all. It's quite good. I kind of like it because as of right now, not with the new logo, but this is what the map looks like for the National Arena League with the 11 teams. Of course, now with the National League, the question is because now they're now 11 teams now. Do they try to go even with a 12? And so that way they have 6 games a week and don't have that odd number that the IFL has right now. Because so far, that is the only team the IFL is adding. So we could hear some other type of stuff when it comes to the Arena League here soon. Because right now it's almost to the end of August, and it's usually about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 4 to 5 months of off season, and then they start playing in March. So it's going to be interesting here. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember now. Going to take a little bit of a break because we're going to discuss what the recent news that has been popping up the last couple of days when it comes to the Arena Football League. Be back in a few.
Houston, we've triumphed. I've made it back to Earth with the cargo intact. The game-changing, time-sensitive payload is none other than the revolutionary energy flavor we've all been waiting for. Introducing Merc Mayhem Cherry Limeade. Merc Clan played a crucial role in securing this energy flavor, and together we've unlocked the future of power. Merc Mayhem is not just a drink, it's a statement, a fusion of relentless energy and bold flavor. The secret is out. Merc Mayhem is set to redefine the energy landscape, leaving ordinary drinks in its cosmic dust. Get ready for a taste explosion that matches Merc Clan's unparalleled power. Join the revolution, and let's unleash Merc Mayhem upon the world. Astronaut M signing off.
Same great taste. Yes, same great taste. Same great taste.
We're back. Now to the latest when it comes to the Arena Football League. Before I tell about what the biggest one is, a little bit of small, little bit house cleaning, if you would, when it comes to Arena Football League, because yesterday, with an article by the Arena Insider, the former team that was in the Arena Football, the Oregon Black Bears, come to find out that the venue that they were using, of course, this was the venue that was basically used for like rodeos. It's like a county fair type of setting arena. And their, unfortunately, their dashboards was all that rodeo fencing and only about 1 to 2 inches of padding. Not good. And supposedly the Oregon Black Bears owed a bill of about 30 grand, $30,000 to that venue. Jeez. Like, I thought the Oregon Black Bears was a good team, good like team name, and I like the players. Unfortunately, they didn't finish the season, and it doesn't look like they'll be coming back, at least at this time. But 30 grand for that venue, like, I don't know, just like for how that venue was, like all they needed was like better walls, and it would have been fine. But to have to owe 30 grand for that venue, it's just wild. Now comes to the latest deal that was reported by Arena Fan yesterday. It seems that the Arena Football League, or at least let me separate that. The Arena Football League logo, the trademarks, all that for the league itself, not the teams. I'll get that to a moment. Owned by G6 and the guy, I believe the name Jason, uh, that owns the trademarks to the league, the old fashioned AFL, the colors and all that stuff. It seems like that the teams and like the administration, when it comes to the teams on that side, seems like they want to separate from G6 and actually rebrand to form a new league but keep the same rules. So basically they just, because I can understand their thought process here. With everything that happened this year, we're in Football League, all with Lee Hutton, with everything and everything going on there. Sorry about the connection there. And it seems like a good idea to just break off from G6, The good news is that team-wise, the logos like the Nashville Cats and all that, they those things, because I talked to somebody that knows close to this, and all the team stuff that's separate. G6 does not own that, so all the team branding, the names of that stuff, that's the team's own specific thing, and they own that. So people thinking like, oh, they own the league trademark, so they own all the logos and teams all in that history. Because example, St. Louis Stampede here shirt I'm wearing, that trademark is still out in the open, waiting to be used, especially after the scam National Gridiron League was trying to use that, then try to form the United Football League and stuff. That name and trademark is still good if they ever want to use that for an arena team in St. Louis, so on and so forth. Because one thing that this connection I talked to, because I don't know, I think I talked about this a little bit or not 2 weeks ago, but James Larson, someone that in an alternative football world that also reports for the UFL News Hub and all that, reported shortly before the Arena Football League Championship that there was some type of problem with trying to play the championship at that venue, at that mall, and all sorts of stuff there. And it was just like a quick moment and stuff like, and talking to this connection, there was a problem. It seems like that the teams took somebody together to or able to play in that arena because there was like a shortfall of something, and G6 apparently did not have the money, but the teams together on that side paid for being able to use that venue and able to have the Arena Football League Championship. So now they basically, after that, they just want to separate basically from the AFL branding and just do their own thing, but still keep the rules. So the rules will still be there, the nets and everything. That's the good thing. And they announced, apparently from arenafan.com, this announcement is supposed to happen next month in September. So that's quite soon and a lot more quicker than I thought, but if anyone knows for arena off season, it comes like in waves. There's a lot of stuff that it's just quiet, a lot of stuff, then quiet again. So it's going to be kind of interesting. What is this announcement? Because also with this contact I talked to, because we still had 18th, but it looks like this is just a rumor, of course, that one of the 18s might be out. And this team that my connection mentioned, and when he mentioned it, I was not surprised. I was not surprised by the team that he named, and the team that he mentioned, and let me be clear, rumor. And it's it's a team that I have discussed. I'm kind of wondering, like, I was shocked that this team was still in with the last 8, and that team is the Wichita Regulators. That is one of the 3 Kansas teams. Because Wichita, if anyone ever saw games broadcasted in their arena, it was a little funky. It's always just one camera because they only had nets on the field side, only just one field goal. And if it is true, I'm not surprised. Because Wichita, out of all of them, that is one of the worst teams on paper. One of the worst teams that performed. Like performance-wise, and I think one of the lower attendance ones. It has a cool logo and name. But it just doesn't seem like it's going to work with them. But let me be clear, rumor, because one thing that, let me just say, no longer the Arena Football League, these new teams, the rebranding league, I'll say that here, when it comes to this announcement in September, with this announcement, like, all right, because one thing I do recall from the Arena Football League Championship with talking at halftime with Jeff Fisher, because apparently they have been talking to people and vetting, trying to get some more owners and type of stuff, because if the thing is true with the regulators being out, that's only 7 teams. They might try to get some other teams in now. The question is, will these be newly formed teams? Will these be teams that are already in existence and they're bumped up? Because, in a way, arena football leagues are kind of like regular like regulation how they do in the Europe soccer, if you know what I mean. So they could bring one up basically, or actually create one expansion from scratch, which always can be a good thing depending on it. Because remember, Arena Football League had Louisiana Voodoo. Now the National Arena League created a team from Louisiana in Shreveport. Do they still try to go into Louisiana and do the Voodoo again? I also have to put where I'm from here in St. Louis, because it's not just the Arena Football League when it comes to, because we were close trying to get a team. As I said before, Pat Pimmel, who became the head coach of the debacle that was the Philadelphia Soul, originally was going to be the head coach of the St. Louis Arena football team and play at the Family Arena. Though, at least according to Lee Hutton, and I have confirmed that there was a contract with the arena, with the Family Arena. And as I said before in previous episodes, the Family Arena probably was out because of due to the renovations that they were having with the scheduling. Then, of course, it has come to find out that the owner of that supposed St. Louis team was the same owner as the Iowa Rampage, and we see how that turned out. So that's going to be quite. And so that would have been interesting and might have been a colossal mess, but thankfully that didn't happen. So now, because St. Louis is in play for not just the teams that are formerly of the new rebranded teams that were in the Arena Football League. Because here's the thing: on social media, both the Billings Mustangs and the Albany Firebirds confirmed that they were playing in 2025, but they didn't say an Arena Football League. So that kind of means, well, that kind of means that all those 7 teams, like I'll still say 8, because like I said, the Wichita regulators thing is still a rumor, but like I said, if they're out, not surprised. And of course, they are still going to keep the team names. Hell, like with the Orlando Predators, that team owns that. They moved from another league in order, and they still had the name. So that's another great example there. So now with, excuse me. So now it comes to when I comes to where I am in St. Louis, because once again, if you look at the map of now with the 11 National Arena League teams, notice how there's this big opening right here in the middle where Missouri is, with a team right above, with 2 teams above Missouri and some teams south there. Kind of makes sense if they're looking for a 12 team, maybe putting a team in Missouri might not be a bad idea. And as I said before, there is a fan base that wants arena football in St. Louis again. And location wise, St. Louis works not just for this new rebranded team, but formerly of the AFL, the National Arena League. Hell, Indoor Football League is, as I said before, they're going to have an odd team, adding a team in Indiana. Why not add another team in the Midwest area to help with traveling? Because that is the most expensive part for any arena team, which is travel. So, like I said, like, we're open. It's not a bad idea. And I could do a poll. Actually, I might do a poll soon. So, when it came to the future of the show, because this news just came yesterday, because originally it'd be like, well, going to be taking a little, like, technically I am going to be taking a little bit of hiatus if you will, because now, like, arena football season, because all season, like I said, it comes big up and down when it comes to the all season, because believe it or not, outdoor football season basically starts for some states this weekend, and some mostly for everyone else next weekend with high school football, and next weekend college football starts. Then, of course, the week after that, NFL. So now we're into that thing now, because for the show I'm doing here for Fuel Sports Network, going to take probably just maybe a little break, especially come back, because they say it's in September. When is September is the question, because we know it's definitely going to happen after Labor Day, of course. Now is the question, like, because when they finally announce what this league is without the Arena Football League name and branding for these, as again, I'll just say 8 for now, because the Wichita Regulators think it's still a rumor at this point. So, and because mostly now the arena teams, they're going to be trying to re-sign their players. Heck, Vegas, of course, congratulations to their quarterback of Jerome Johnson winning MVP for the Indoor Football League. And Vegas, of course, they're going to be trying to be able to get back into the playoff and get championship picture. Because remember, this, as of right now, is the last year the Indoor Football League National Championship. Once again, take the national out of it. Have one more year playing the championship in Vegas and be able to win a championship at home would be great. And then, of course, because the players, as of right now, because you've got a lot of players fighting for NFL roster spots, and then go to practice squad, and then you got other leagues trying to take out what's left, like with the UFL. Heck, the CFL season, that's going to be wrapped. That we're getting close to the end of that here now. And then, oh yeah, there's also that European Football League abbreviation ELF that's going on right now too. So there's talent worldwide. And then just trying to sign these players and get what they need in order to succeed for the following year. And remember, arena teams do not have a draft. It's basically just street free agents. That's basically what it is for getting players. And they'll have tryouts and all that stuff. Mostly they try to get most of what out of the local talent pool, because to be frank, it's cheaper to get players locally because they more likely have their own housing and stuff like that. And some teams do try to maybe try to pack the team with mostly local talent if they're able to, but if they're like, but in order to win arena football, you need to find the best talent available. But it's going to be kind of interesting what's going on, especially for that announcement. So for my show, Arena STL, we'll be back as again the next going to take probably just go a little bit on a short hiatus because nothing much happening here. Probably come back whenever the new announcement of this new arena league that comes, as I said again, from now what's going to be a rebranded arena football league with these teams. And then probably figure out more because 1 month, I'm not too sure, Chris, because I have a feeling that it probably, if it's going to be in September, it's going to be after Labor Day because Labor Day is the weekend after this. It's probably, my guess, somewhere between the top and mid-month. So we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So thank you for joining me on this journey on the show because, like I said, this show covering arena leagues has been fun, scary, exciting, and very nail-biting, if you will. But it's going to be fun. It's been fun, but take a short hiatus. Be back when the announcement probably might have a little poll on the show pages of like what for, especially here locally, what league should the St. Louis Arena football team join? Because, like I said, we were this close for the Arena Football League this close. And not being there could have been a blessing in disguise. National Arena League needs one more team, like I said before. And then Indoor Football League, they have one, but if they were going to add another, it's going to have to be pretty quickly announced for that. Or, like, if St. Louis was supposed to join, it more likely would happen in the 2026 season. So, but it's going to be interesting, especially now with the adding Indianapolis, which would be the East. And if St. Louis did join Indoor Football League, more likely be in the West, because, be honest, St. Louis is the gateway to the West. That's what has been called for years. But it just gives because, like I said before, National League has already announced 2 new teams within the last 3 weeks. So will we hear another one here pretty soon? Because they only have 11. Indoor Football League is about to have 17, and then the new deal with the former Arena Football League. Let me be clear, because they started first with 16, went down to 8, and if the rumor's true, go down to 8 to 7. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Like I said before, thank you for joining me this evening. See you in September.